Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Cruising Out of Sight. This is part 2 in a 2-part series about Oasis of the Seas. It's a full ship tour. In the second half of the series, we're going to take a look at decks 8, deck 15, 16, and we'll look up at 17 and 18. Absolutely massive ship. I needed to trim this video down into 2 45-minute segments. Ended up to be an hour and a half long total, just far too long for a YouTube video. I'm not sure 45 minutes isn't too long. But let's jump right back into it. If you haven't seen the first one, I definitely recommend that you take a look. It's down in the description below. Enjoy. We left off the tour on part 1 on deck 5, so we'll pick up from there. Here we'll go up 3 floors, so now on deck 8 aft. In here we'll find the music hall. This is an interesting venue if utilized properly. I was on Oasis of the Seas this past March, and there was an 80s cover band that rocked the house in here a few nights of the cruise. Since then, I haven't found that they've really utilized this space as much as they should. They do some karaoke in here and some teen events, but it's a great place for live music. It's 2 stories. If you look up above, you can see that there's a balcony that looks down onto the stage, and it has its own bar as well. I have seen a Led Zeppelin cover band and a Beatles cover band in here. I think one of them was on Harmony, but it's just not my style. I'd like to see some newer rock and roll, kind of a departure from what you can get on the rest of the ship. Now heading forward past the starboard elevator banks, we'll go out onto Central Park. Really nice, relaxing area with live plants of all kinds, trees. They pipe in birds and cricket sounds. You got these meandering paths with little nooks and crannies with kind of secluded seating. Really, really beautiful area. This structure to our left is the upper deck of the Rising Tide Bar. It looks like it's almost in its upmost position. You can see the seating through the windows. Around supper time, they usually have like a jazz quartet playing out here. Right now they got some classical guitar. Really nice ambiance. There's a bar in here in Central Park called the Terrace Bar. And then there's a specialty restaurant, Park 150, as well as Park Cafe, which is an included option with soups, salads, and sandwiches for lunch, as well as a scaled back breakfast menu. There are also some shopping opportunities in here. I think on Oasis it's a jewelry store tucked away. Love this glass structure that the guitarist is playing under. You can peek down through it on one side to see down into the Royal Promenade. And then there's some comfortable seating around it, along with some Adirondack chairs, which are pretty low to the ground, a little hard to get out of. Behind us here is Park Cafe. There's also another bar right here on the right, Vintages. It's the wine bar. Watch out for these steps right here. Some are lit, some are not. You can go on a different path that goes around these, though, to avoid them. We're going to do a massive teleport and teleport up to deck 15 aft on the starboard side. Pretty nice lookout spot here on the starboard side. We're just pulling into Port Canaveral right now. Just entering the channel. I can hear people over there cheering. Right. That's where the jetty is with the people. Over there, dude. We missed the welcome wagon. Yeah. From there, we'll walk aft. And the first thing we'll come across is the Ultimate Abyss dry slide entrance. So this is the big, scary-looking triggerfish or anglerfish, I think it is. Here you'll get your mats, and you climb some stairs up to the top of the slides, and then you sit down on your mat and fly down the slide. It really doesn't go that fast, but it's fairly thrilling. I really like it. Quick way to get down to deck 6 as well. There's a bar here on our right. We're going to walk over to the port side of the ship so we can see the infrastructure for the cruise ships that's on the left side of the channel as you're coming in. Captain and tell him to blow the horns. So we have the walking here. Yeah. We came down here with Connie and Roland maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. Okay. And had supper at one of these restaurants. Yeah. And you could just sit there and watch the ships go in and out. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I want to do that. Feature on the video. So you get some clips. You can? We were meeting up with our parents who live nearby, so my mother is down there somewhere waiting to pick us up. For the first time in something like 10 years or so, my entire family will be together. My parents and both of my brothers, all in the same space. I was really looking forward to it. sense because that's when most of the retirees come down.
There's a bunch of people off to our right playing on the 9-hole mini golf course. We'll take a little look at that a little later.
Eventually, I'll be able to see that observation tower that they built right at the terminal. I didn't go up it. Have you gone up it?
Yeah, we've been.
I didn't go
It's
up.
a museum inside.
Yeah. I've watched YouTube videos of people going up
It's
it.
not super interesting in there, but
But it does give you a little bit of a higher vantage point.
yeah. There's some peaks. Pretty close now. My mom and dad came down here and parked one time when I was going out. They were waving, but I couldn't see where they were.
Yeah.
They didn't see me either, though. So. Here, you want to hold this for a second? Yeah, with your thumb.
From there, we're going to take a trip up the elevator and then pop out onto deck 15. This is on the forward end, and we're on the port side. So we're going to head aft from the forward elevators on deck 15. The first thing we encounter is the big opening that looks down into Central Park. And then on the right, or as we walk on the left, I guess it is now, there is the exit to a couple of the water slides here. We're going to loop around that and continue aft on the port side. There's a pool towel checkout desk here right on the right. There are 3 small pools up here on deck 15, and this, for some reason, keeps me constantly confused. I never know which pool I'm at, which direction I'm facing, fore or aft, which side of the ship I'm on. I find this area of the ship to be very confusing. But anyhow, up here on the left is the main pool. Really neat lighting around these pools at night, I think. Each of the pools is fairly small, but then it's got a like a kind of a waiting area before you actually get into the deeper part of the pool. And there is a seating area all the way around. So it's nice if you want to sit there and put your feet in, or you can sit in the 3 or 4 inches of water and hang your feet down into the deeper part of the pool. I actually like this design. There are showers here in front of us as well as some hot tubs. This bar in between these 2 pools is called the Lime and Coconut. Definitely try that drink if you've never had it before. A little sweet. Sometimes I ask for it with some extra soda water in it to temper the sweetness a little bit, but really good drink. And it The next pool on our left is the sports pool. So there's 2 pools on the starboard side and 1 pool on the port side, which we'll see later. More showers and jacuzzis. This pool is closed right now. They tend to consolidate the pools at night based off of how busy they are. I guess if you look up and aft, you can see these sweet windows up above us. That's a very distinctive feature of the ship, which would tell you that we're facing the aft of the ship. The front doesn't have any deck 17 rooms, or a deck 17 at all for that matter. The front of the ship. Continuing aft, we would have the aft elevators on our left if we went through these doors. On the right hand side, there are a couple of ping pong tables as well as some really comfy seats. I didn't walk through there, but off to the left here in the center of the ship would be the teen area. And after we go around these windbreaks, we'll come up to the Portside Barbecue, which is a specialty restaurant on the left. I'm not a big fan, but I may try it again someday just to see. I've eaten here twice, and I'm just not a big fan of their seasoning or their sauces that they use.
Yikes.
At this restaurant, you would order up here at the countertop and then seat yourself. I've actually never seen anyone playing the guitar at this little stage here on the right. Might be worth checking out. Coming out of there and taking a left, still heading aft now, we'll find some additional seating for this restaurant.
How do you pay with your CPAS?
Yeah. So I went down to the guest services to pay it, and I guess because my card is already attached to the
Oh yeah,
they
that
switched
is
my payment.
unfair. Yeah.
I was like, you can't charge it since it's already on there. He's like, no, you
You
have to
don't
pay
have
it.
to come back down.
It's outside, but yet covered over the top. Neat view if you look over the railing here, you'll see the boardwalk neighborhood, which is 9 floors below us. Then going outside and continuing aft, we find the 9-hole mini golf that we talked about in the last little segment. Really neat obstacles and design on this course. They put a lot of work into making this interesting, with lots of little hills and bankings and all kinds of obstacles. It's a really neat little course. To our left is the zip line. You could take it from the far corner on the aft of the ship and then zoom over the boardwalk area and end up at the, the front port corner of the ship. Pretty cool. I've actually never done it, but I need to do it one of these times. So right here is where we stood for the sail in to Port Canaveral. A little bit of a different look at night. I find it funny that there's life rings up here on deck 15. I wouldn't want to be the guy down in the water that has one of those thrown at him and gets hit in the head with it. They're pretty heavy. Climbing these stairs, we get a look at one of the 2 flow riders. There's one on the port side and one on the starboard side. They're not running right now, unfortunately, but definitely check out some video of this if you want to see some cool surfing action. Continuing aft, we're actually on deck 16 now. Deck 15 has a ramp that slowly goes up until you're on deck 16 here in the aft of the ship. I really love the lighting of this anglerfish that is the top of the Ultimate Abyss slide. It looks really cool at night. I'll poke the camera over the railing here for a neat shot of the Aqua Theater down below. On the right, you can see the starboard side flow rider. We're now on the starboard side of the ship heading forward. Here you'll find the sports court where they play pickleball, volleyball, basketball, all kinds of different. I think they even have dodgeball, I believe. Another little peek down into the boardwalk neighborhood. The ship is so quiet at this time of night. It's not quiet when the aqua show is going on. I've always wondered how loud it is in the rooms of these balcony rooms that look over into the boardwalk area. I'm guessing it's probably pretty loud in the rooms. The sound really reverberates through this corridor. Leave a comment if you've ever had one of these rooms and let me know what your experience is. We'll walk all the way over to the starboard side and hang a left heading forward on the ship. And this brings me to one of my favorite included restaurants, El Loco Fresh. Absolutely love their grilled steak burritos and nachos with guacamole. My only gripe is that they close at like 6 p.m. I would love it if they were open until maybe 8 p.m. Like I mentioned earlier, the space on the left inside is the teen and kids areas as well as the arcade. We'll hang a left like we're going to the aft elevators here, but we'll take another left and pop into the arcade. Nice variety of games in here, from skee-ball to racing games to prize games, even a photo booth and some retro games. Going back outside and taking a left, so still heading forward on the ship, the first thing we'll come up to on the left is Splashaway Bay, the kids' splash area. There's a variety of slides and fountains and water shooting all over the place for the little ones over here. Here's the starboard side of the lime and coconut bar. It wraps all the way around, goes almost from side to side of the ship. There's another pool towel checkout desk right up here to the right. You can also check out life jackets for your kids nearby as well. Next up on the left is the beach pool. This one's different from the other two pools in that you can actually walk right down into the water without any steps. There are even beach chairs right in the water as well. Continuing forward, you have the Perfect Storm water slide on our left. This ship has more water slides than I can count. These doors on the left would go to the front elevator banks, but we'll continue forward into the solarium. It's closed right now, but the middle here is the Solarium Bistro, which is an included dining option for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's pretty much just a smaller version of the Windjammer buffet. The solarium is an adults only area, but kids can walk through here and they can also go to the Solarium Bistro. But other than that, it's 18 and up. I got a kick out of the water sloshing around in this little, I don't know what you'd call this, this little channel where there's a water feature. The ship was moving pretty good, so the water was sloshing around. The solarium offers some peace and quiet, has tons of different seating arrangements, some really comfortable seating, really good views out at the front of the ship during the day when you can actually see outside these windows. The one thing I want to know though, where is the solarium pool? Why don't the Oasis class ships have pools in the solarium? I really love the solarium pools on the smaller ships, but unfortunately Oasis doesn't have any. The solarium does have hot tubs. Here's one off to the right. The solarium also has this round water feature area here. I would call it a wading pool, I guess. When I say pool, I think of something where you can actually swim, not just sit in, but this is basically a, I don't know, a cold water hot tub. I didn't really catch it, but there are two really big hot tubs, one on each side of the elevator banks in the front here. Instead, we'll go up the stairs and take a look at deck 16. So this UFO looking thing that's hanging off the side of the ship directly ahead is that hot tub, or one of the two hot tubs. This one's on the port side, but it's semi-covered. The rain does come down through if it's raining, but really nice. Giant hot tub, probably holds 12 to 15 people, I would guess. We're heading forward now on the port side of the ship. We'll take a look at the second level of the solarium. Lots of little seating nooks up here with its own bar as well.
Hi. What do you have there? Oh, 360 camera. Oh, 360. Yeah.
Now going back out of the solarium, heading aft on the port side, we'll find the wraparound sun deck. It wraps all the way around the ship on deck 16 up here with tons of patio chair seating. In addition to the patio chairs, there's these egg chairs, good size for 2 people to sit on the little pad inside. And there are also day beds. That's these 4-poster bed looking things. You can rent those out for the day. The eggs are first come, first serve. Plenty of opportunities up here to look over the railing and look down into the pool areas. This is the main pool that we're looking down on. There are a couple of jacuzzis up here as well. Here's one on the left. Also on the left right here is the lime and coconut on deck 16 as well. So not only does it go side to side on the ship, it also goes on 15 and 16. Looking over the railing to the left, we find the sports pool down below on deck 15. The lighting looks a lot brighter than it actually is. It's actually quite more subdued during the nighttime hours. But one of my issues with the Oasis class ships is that there aren't very many opportunities outside to look up at the stars without tons of light pollution from the ship. Without the helipad access, there's just really nowhere to go on this ship where you don't have lights shining in your face. It's not a deal breaker, but it's definitely one of the things I like on the smaller ships, and another instance where this ship is very ship-centric, not outside-centric. We'll go inside right here. This is in front of the aft elevators, and here's where you have access to the Windjammer buffet.
So drastic.
Windjammer is one of two different buffet options on the Oasis class ships. There's the Windjammer up here on deck 16, and then there's also the Solarium Bistro, like we talked about earlier, on deck 15 forward. We actually picked a pretty good time of day. This area can be pretty darn crazy. It looks like there's plenty of available seats, and the traffic flow isn't too bad. Lots of different options to pick from. The buffets are quite a bit smaller on the Oasis class ships, since there's so many other included food options on the ship, such as Park Cafe, Sorrento's, Cafe Promenade, just on and on the Oasis class ships. You've got the doghouse area, just lots of options to pick from. So the buffet itself is probably half the size it is on the Freedom class or the Voyager class ships.
Yeah, equal amount of chaos, but everybody seems to be behaving a little better. I think the older crowd is much more confused and rude. So far, it doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah.
Even though the place is packed, it's flowing a little smoother. You can tell right away.
I kind of like when I document somebody like walking right up into my face,
Yeah.
or people coughing.
You have a Rona count on the screen.
Yeah.
That's about it, huh?
Yeah.
Coming out of the Windjammer, taking a right, we'll head over to the starboard side of the ship and we'll take a look at the railing of deck 16.
You with me?
Yep.
Yeah, this is where I came out, right here. And they almost blew my shirt off.
I'll tell you in a second. This is where I was. Done. Yeah, I don't know how. I have no idea how you got past me without me seeing. I'm sure you
Yeah,
walked.
because
You kept going.
there was like nobody in this whole triangle when I came up. Unless I like beat you up here. Oh well.
Yeah, I went directly here. You know what I did is I came out below.
Yeah.
I came up that stairway we just passed. Came up
We'll
and then
just walk a
went
bit
back.
forward on the ship and get a feel for how the pool deck looks on a sea day.
That's okay. I won almost $200, so it's all good.
Yeah, I was pretty much
Between you and I, can we lift up one of these eggs and dump the people out?
Lift it up and dump it over the railing.
Well, that's kind of rude, but it's kind of over the top.
The lounge chairs are so short, I had to really make sure my butt was cinched up to the back, otherwise my feet were falling out.
Yeah. Kicking everybody.
I didn't realize I was that tall.
Yeah, you are.
That's a lot.
But now he started.
It's a good mix of ages.
Random general knowledge.
Tell people it's a reverse cane. It helps you navigate the air.
Yeah, it's got GPS.
Fantastic.
That's not bad, actually.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. I like it. It's a freaking gas detector that's going off constantly. Stand up. Oh, you're right.
It's decent. Just grab some coffee.
Isn't it?
It's awesome.
Yeah. I drink a shit ton of coffee when I'm by myself.
Usually have 1 or 2 a day.
Yeah.
Never more. Never
Sometimes
more.
when I'm solo cruising, I'll drink like 9.
Yeah. It's so easy.
Yeah.
On tap.
Everywhere you go.
Yeah. Even when we walked through the Windjammer, there was the next station as
I
we
gotta
walked
get you
around.
Diamond Club coffee.
Yeah.
Man, we got so much stuff to do.
It's not even blaring sun and it's not as nearly as windy as yesterday.
Yeah. Where's that toilet bowl thing? Is
Kind
that
of a neat feature here on the left. The water slide has what I'll call a toilet bowl type of feature. The people come down the slide, they spin around in this semi-translucent bowl thing and then fall through the middle. It's interesting to watch.
Can we see somebody whizzing by?
So they come in from the other side and
Yeah.
it connects. I only saw one go so far.
Oh, is that somebody?
Their first pass will whiz up the window slightly,
Yeah.
and then it seems like they're done before the second rotation.
Right.
But it might depend on the rider, right?
Good.
I managed to not fling the coffee on myself yet.
Not yet.
So I need to just get like half cups.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna spill.
Yeah, just get 2 half cups.
Right.
Just double fist the coffee.
Yep.
Here on the right is what that giant jacuzzi, whirlpool, hot tub, whatever you want to call it, looks like during the day.
Yeah.
Most likely hear it.
I haven't quite learned all the... It's a blinking red when it's recording, and it's hard to see in the sun.
Of course.
But yeah, it makes like a chirp, and then it makes like a camera
Yeah. It goes.
noise. Yeah.
Chirp, chirp.
But sometimes if it's up like this, I don't hear it.
And here's a good view of the solarium from deck 16. It was kind of hard to see. It was dark last night.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't flow like Liberty though. On Liberty you just walk front to back. Yeah. Without having a zigzag at all. Which I think makes it a little more confusing, but that's all right though. Is that the Rona?
Just have to live on board each one for an entire year to trade without leaving.
That would get you a good idea of the lay of the land. Okay.
Hopefully this gives you a little better idea of how the seating areas flow into the bar area. Kind of neat how they have it split up into these little separate seating areas.
It's the bubble.
Yeah, you and I didn't come up here yet.
No.
Yeah. We didn't even look at the pool up here, or the waiting pool, or whatever the heck it is.
There's a never-ending grind.
Yeah.
I think people are laughing at us. Everywhere I go, people are laughing.
It's hurtful.
Because we're twinsies. We're twinsies. They're laughing at the hats.
Everything.
Here's a much better look at the bar than we got last night.
We walk by and the lady just starts laughing. I mean, it's a good chance.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm glad to be here for the end of the day last year.
It ain't no thing.
All we gotta do is review the footage. And I'll zoom in
Yeah, there you go.
on that and I try to see if our eyeballs are Fahrenheit. That's pretty fun. Analyze the data. Yeah, we never came up with this area.
No.
I didn't know this existed. It's like the ship is sprouting new areas.
Maybe.
It seems like it.
They're on high. Are they on? Are they on hydraulics or what?
Maybe.
Articulating?
And you can see here on the cantilevered hot tub how the top isn't completely closed in. These bars have spaces in between that will allow some rainwater to splash down in.
Yeah.
Looks like somebody took a buck knife and just started carving.
They probably frown on that.
The ship is very confusing. We need to pry off and replace
To the left as we pass these stairs is a really good look at the water slides.
every single one on the entire ship.
I need to find this bubble up there. Come on, that would be a funny video.
Pretend like you fell
Yeah. And the camera goes right between the ass
and it
cheeks.
smacks. That would be
Did that get a YouTube violation?
Get a human rights violation.
My camera just. Come on, it seemed like a good idea to me.
I'm clear on if we tried to get into this pool. I don't think we did. This isn't even the one.
Yeah, this is probably the third one we didn't try, yeah.
This is absurd.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, Liberty was really obvious to figure out the pool decks.
Yeah.
This is. I mean, lots of walking to figure this one out. I don't really care either way, honestly. I don't need to learn it. I
flying up there laughing.
Here's a little bonus material. We'll take the elevator up to deck 8 forward where our stateroom was. I'll backtrack a little bit here and take a look over the railing. You can see down all the way to deck 4. This was a casino comp, and I had an interior room up on deck 8 forward, number 8147. I really liked this stateroom location. It was very close to Central Park, which was nice, and completely surrounded by other rooms, so really nice and quiet. We barely heard anything except for the occasional slamming door, which seems to be prevalent on most of my cruises. You can see I have a dry erase board, which is fun for leaving messages for each other, but also other people in the hallway sometimes stop and leave us messages on there as well. A little fun back and forth. I usually have a bunch of magnetic ducks that I 3D print stuck on my door as well.
Hopefully you enjoyed that second half of the look at Oasis of the Seas. It's quite a ship. I did come away with a couple of pros and a couple of cons. Some of the pros are choices of food. I absolutely love the salads and sandwiches in the Park Cafe. That's a great option. El Loco Fresh, absolutely love that as well. Talked about the burritos and the nachos there. The Doghouse, fantastic apple sausages. Definitely try those if you've never tried those in the past. The other pro is the entertainment. So many different choices, so many different venues for live music. The Aqua Show is just amazing. The comedians were super good. There's just so many options. They even have big parties in the Royal Promenade late at night, which I'm not personally a big fan of. I'm not getting out there and dancing with the crowd, but it's just neat. It brings some life to the ship that some of the smaller ships lack. These bigger ships bring in a younger crowd, which also helps with the liveliness of the ship. So that's really neat. Cons, I keep coming back to it, but the lack of views. I really wish this ship had more areas where you could look out on the waves, especially from down low, like the promenade decks have on the smaller ships. Dark areas to see the stars at night. I really enjoy that. And there's just tons and tons of lights up on the deck, so no dark areas there. Crowds is the other con, I think, as well. The ship has 6,000 or so guests on it, and I just don't think there's enough space for that many guests. Quite often, when you're going from one venue to another, there's big long lines snaking through areas. It's hard to get through. I mentioned those parties in the promenade at night. If you want to go get some pizza, it's hard to cut through these crowds and crowds of people there. So crowds can be a problem. I think the smaller ships feel less crowded. Even though the footprint is smaller, there's less people along with it. And I think those people are probably distributed better. And there's no reservation system, so there's no lines for those ships either. But all in all, you can't go wrong with Oasis. There's just so many different options. On a 7-night, I don't even touch half of the options that there are for things to do. It's endless with the water slides and the surf simulators and zip lines and on and on and on and on. It's just a fantastic ship. It's a floating resort. There's no other way to put it. So hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, please slap a like on there. I'd also appreciate a subscription if you're interested in more of this content. That'll help you as well, because you'll get to see next time I release another video. I have a couple ideas for some videos coming up that I think you'll find interesting. So if you're into it, click that notification click the subscribe with the notification bell on. I'd really appreciate it. Have a good one.